What's your idea of a great night out? Now, I love going out to hear a band or to a West End musical. There's just something magical about live music, isn't there? Just you and everyone else in the audience sharing the moment. I love the creativity of it. And as an occasional musician myself, I appreciate the craft, the effort, and the practice someone has put into making a great song.
Should we give it a go? Let's try it out. I'm going to go to ChatGPT. And to start with, I'm going to say, please, can you write me a chord chart for a 16-bar jazz ballad?
Here's a basic chord chart for a 16-bar jazz ballad. This will follow a typical jazz progression with some extended chords, but you can modify it to fit your preference or style.
All right.
I am science communicator, actor and Liverpudlian Stephen McGann, and this is AI and Us, The Future in Our Hands, a series exploring how artificial intelligence is changing the fabric of our world, with Liverpool leading the charge to understand and harness its power.
My name's Max O'Hara, Liverpool-based session musician predominantly. We're in my house. We have a very musical house. This is my little cozy office. So I've got this keyboard under my desk.
And in this episode, we're looking at music and sport. How AI could shape the music we watch and hear and change how the world's most popular sports are played. Michael Lewis in 2003 released a book called Moneyball. You might have seen the movie. It was all about how the Oakland A's, a small American baseball team with not much money, was able to recruit undervalued players and win more, using the power of data, statistics, and maths. Baseball, that great American pastime, was forever changed. Now, with the increased processing power of AI, it looks like Britain's own beloved game football is on the cusp of a similar technological revolution. In March 2024, researchers from Google's DeepMind Artificial Intelligence Lab published a paper in Nature about their work with Liverpool Football Club. Together, they've developed an AI-driven coach for corner kicks called Tactic AI. Corner kicks are crucial in football because they're a prime opportunity to get the ball into the penalty area. And in a game like football, which is full of random variables, it's a rare chance for teams to use planned, controlled routines that can lead to goals. Tactic AI analysed more than 7,000 corner kicks taken in Premier League games. Basically, before a corner kick is taken, it can suggest new ideas for tactics and predict who will get the ball and give tips on where players should be positioned to boost or block a goal. Of course, it's still up to the manager whether they take the AI's advice or not. Whether it's AI coaching or the FA Cup's introduction of artificial intelligence to help detect offsides, the fact remains AI is changing the game. But I don't think elite football players need to worry about being replaced by AI. I simply can't imagine Premier League audiences switching to robot football anytime soon. Musicians, however, they're definitely worried about how AI-generated music could eat away at their livelihoods. Now, have you listened to any AI-generated music? You might have instinctively answered no there, but there's more of it about than you might think. A lot of what we used to call muzak, songs developed to be background noise in shops and elevators, is increasingly written by AI.
You made my boots walk away without me in them. Oh, sing it.
But you weren't beside me. You walked right out the floor.
Right out the floor.
My
Great.
heart was heavy.
want the chorus.
Maybe I could barely stay.
Well, it can get a bit weird. The lyrics are uncanny. And though they fit the style of the music, come on, they're just wrong. It's artificial intelligence, so it will learn, of course. Well, give it a few months. An AI-generated country or pop music really might be unrecognisable. Max O'Hara, though, is a jazz musician in Liverpool.
Some genres are more formulaic than others and can probably be generated. The thing about jazz, I would say, is the pioneers that always progress jazz to the next stage or phase or era or whatever you want to call it are like risk takers. That's not tangible, I don't think, for an AI to generate. That's like a feeling more than like just a sound. AI is learning from things it's already heard. So I can't see there being groundbreaking jazz coming from AI for that reason.
But Max has also used AI to generate jazz music and then played that music himself. He asked ChatGPT to write him some chords.
I asked it to write it in a certain structure, which it didn't quite do, and then I corrected it. And then I asked it to give me some like notes to use as the melody, basically. It's kind of like jazz chord writing for dummies. It was very much basic chords, and I definitely had to just apply, everything that I had learned of my life to make it sound like music. So some lovely chords there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different chords. I've just played them. I didn't add any extra jazz theory or harmony to make it more interesting. If I were to play this chord progression maybe with a little bit more flair or jazz theory, it might sound something like this. That's the same chords, but played a little bit differently with a little bit more understanding.
So, for writing jazz at least, AI has a lot to learn. But in the media, AI-generated music, literature, photography and voices are getting a lot of coverage. A big fear is that AI could really harm the creative industries, making it harder for musicians to earn a living. But it might also have some benefits.
I'm going to start with maybe a view which isn't discussed quite so much, which is the potential of AI to democratise creativity in some regards.
This is Dr. Jen Davis, a musician and songwriter in a band called Harm, and a researcher with the University of Liverpool's Music Futures Hub, a collaboration with Liverpool John Moores University and the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts.
It's not a new thing that we've had hit singles which have been made of pre-existing drum loops or synth loops from GarageBand or Apple Music. And what that has done is, I guess, lowered the barriers to entry for people to be able to create. I've also seen interesting cases of how AI can help people learn instruments. That's been bubbling for a long time with things like YouTube, of course, where you can easily find a piano tutorial and follow along, and you don't have to necessarily pay for expensive piano lessons to learn how to play anymore, which is a fantastic thing. Hopefully AI can be used to advance that even further and make it so that people who maybe haven't been quite so fortunate enough to have music lessons and things like that be able to express themselves in an artistic manner. Interesting things from an artistic point of view is how AI can be used as a production tool to reduce the amount of time you have to spend on mundane, monotonous, time-consuming editing activities, which then frees up more time for you to spend on what I would call the value-adding activities, the actual creativity, the creative spark.
I like that perspective. It is interesting to think of AI supporting human art and creativity, rather than supplanting it, taking away the mundane, repetitive tasks, freeing us up to do more creating. And many musicians are focusing on the one thing in music that AI really can't do: perform live. Max O'Hara again.
The main part of my income is from performing. That is like a very human thing. You're kind of looking at something beautiful or that you really like the sound of or the look of. When you watch someone play music, you can see the hours they've spent learning that craft. And that's the thing that I feel pretty confident is not going to be taken over by AI.
But the live music industry in the UK is already buckling under a number of pressures. In 2023, live music venues across the country felt the combined impacts of soaring rent and energy prices, as well as the hangover of COVID. The UK lost over 10% of its live music venues that year, as 125 venues abandoned live music for good. But could artificial intelligence somehow improve the local Liverpool music scene? That's a question Dr. Jen Davis and others at the Music Futures Hub are working on.
I think one of the big challenges that we've got with Music Futures is understanding audience behaviour at the moment, because we have seen an increasing fragility of the grassroots music venue scene in Liverpool. You know, we've had some key music venues that have closed. And I think just anecdotally speaking to artists and promoters across the city, it's a very challenging time. So I certainly hope that by using data in a more powerful way, I hope that we can support that. I think that if you can help people access what's going on, you're much more likely to increase the chance that someone is going to go and attend something.
The Music Futures Hub is just getting started. And one way they think AI might help the local music scene is through developing what's called an AI agent.
An AI agent is like chatbot plus. I think the key thing which separates agentic AI from something like a normal chatbot is the fact that you can have a whole suite of different AIs that work together, and different actions will then trigger other AI agents to do specific tasks. And the idea is that they're all interconnected. And so it's much more advanced than just a simple chatbot, where obviously it will only give you responses based on what it's trained on, you know, to respond with. On the more local level, if I can give you a specific example, we have a company that we've been discussing ideas with called Music Scene, and they've been looking at how the grassroots music community in Liverpool can share and harness data to support the local scene. And they're looking at essentially creating an AI agent which will ensure that people can access lots and lots of information so that they can hopefully support the live music scene. Because at the moment, although there's lots of good pockets of information, it's very disjointed across the whole city. So I think there's a lot of potential to use AI to sort of unify that data and for the community to get together and use it to their advantage. I think agentic AI is going to be at the centre of the music tech ecosystem.
That sounds brilliant. Another way AI can support and not supplant real people making music. I love it. But of course, the big fear in the creative fields is that AI will supplant all of us. Actors, musicians, writers. For musicians, one of the big ways they can earn a lot of money is through what's called synchronization deals. When their music gets licensed to soundtrack film, advert, or sports broadcasts. But what if all that goes to AI?
A lot of artists are feeling quite nervous right now with regards to what the future holds. As an artist myself, it's always been really challenging to make money from music, and artists have been getting a raw deal for a long time, to be honest. But one of the ways my band Harm has been able to make money is through synchronization deals. And I do think that AI has the potential to really damage that as a revenue stream. Whether film and television production companies will stick to using human creators rather than AI, when AI might present such a easy and cheap alternative, I can see why people are getting nervous.
Jen's not wrong. Musicians have been getting a raw deal for a very long time. Whether it's music streaming services paying minuscule rates or record labels doing the same, back when CDs or even, gasp, cassette tapes were the king. But I do think there is something different going on here. Because AI can only make music if it can learn from other music. And a lot of the music out there on the internet that AI is scraping to learn from is under copyright. Artists, musicians and writers are struggling to keep control of their works. Some want to be paid for the use of their work in training AI. Others don't want anything to do with it. And tech companies do need a vast amount of high-quality works to train their AI models. The UK government just ran a consultation seeking to balance these interests by suggesting artists could opt out so their works wouldn't be used. An opt-out sounds like a good idea. If you don't want your work training in AI, you opt out and the job's done. But, as we've learned throughout this podcast, with AI, things just aren't that simple. Dr. Jen Davis again.
From an artist's perspective, a lot of artists feel that their work has been essentially stolen and used to train AI models without their consent. Now, the opt-out clause, which would give artists the choice to select that their music or artwork, whatever it is, not be used to train these foundational models. But then how easy is that going to be to enforce? What about all the stuff that's already been trained and just scraped off the internet? At the moment, we have copyright laws. So if AI were to generate something which essentially ripped off an existing copyright protected work, then UK copyright law still stands. So you're not allowed to commercially exploit that AI generated content. An additional thing to add, and this has always been quite challenging with regards to copyright, is you can't copyright a vibe. Melodies are protected, drum patterns are often protected to an extent. And I think that's the thing with generative AI, is it shouldn't really be producing stuff which exactly copies what is out there. It's making it very, very similar in atmosphere, but not necessarily the same. And so I think that would make it particularly challenging to bring about copyright lawsuits.
So the issue of AI in the arts is really very complicated. In the coming years, it will involve lawsuits, and we'll see some big changes in how music is made. But I don't think it's going to stop people making music, learning instruments, and neither does Max.
I don't think you're going to be able to replace musicians or artists creating stuff. They're certainly not going to stop creating. And whatever AI generates, I feel like you're going to be able to tell when something's lacking a human element. And you're never going to stop people learning to play. It's not going to be like, oh, AI can do that, so I'm not going to bother. I think people are always going to want to create stuff. They're always going to want to learn to play instruments, learn to dance, to create art. And as long as people are doing it, people are going to want to go observe it.
Yes. It does really make you think about human creativity, though. AI is designed to learn the way that people do, by taking what's gone before and making something new from those influences. I wonder, what does AI say about how we, as humans, create new works?
I'm a big fan of technology. I think some of the advances that are happening in AI are incredible, but I do acknowledge that we have to preserve human artistry. My hope is that it will raise the value of human error. Super luxury fashion items actually have a lot of mistakes in them. And that is a desired thing because it shows that the item has been handmade. And I hope that we will maybe see a similar thing happen with live music, where the little mistakes that happen that show that it's being performed by a human live in the room will increase in value and people will desire that. I think about how I learned to write songs from teaching myself how to play copyrighted works. And then, what humans do is you're integrating all of those different influences and then hopefully generating and creating new outputs. Well, what is AI doing? It's mimicking human learning. It's taking influences and creating something new. So then you're like, well, what is it that separates human creativity? I think it's probably something to do with the fact that we feel, in a very real sense, emotion. And AI can emulate emotion, but it's not feeling it.
That's it. That's the thing. The feeling of it all. It's that feeling I get when I play music, or say when I see a fantastic band, when I was part of an audience enthralled to The Teardrop Explodes or Echo and the Bunnymen back in the old Eric's Club in Liverpool, a little bit before your time maybe. At times like that, there's something almost holy about music. It's a way for humans to be together, to commune with each other. And, while I like the idea that AI can support human creativity, I don't think AI will ever replace people making music. Every new technology brings fears that we will become in some way less creative. But people do just keep making new things. It's a basic human instinct. And in the end, I think it's something that we will always do, no matter what. Human creativity is for us. In the next episode, we'll be looking at how AI can impact mental health support. Do join me, Stephen McGann, for the next episode of AI and Us, The Future in Our Hands. AI and Us was written and produced by Nija Dalal-Small. The executive producer was Ailsa Rochester. AI and Us was an Audio Always production made in collaboration with the University of Liverpool's Civic Data Cooperative.